I don't want to be difficult, Sergeant, but will you please get in touch with Inspector Carter?
Yes, I'll get in touch with the Inspector, Mr. Foster. All in good time. Now, sir, you admit that you knew the young lady?
Yes.
She was, in fact, a friend of yours.
She was not a friend of mine. I thought I'd made that quite clear.
If you'll forgive my saying so, sir, you haven't made anything very clear. You've told me that the cottage belongs to you, but you say that you haven't, in fact, been down here for several weeks.
No.
You've also told me that the reason you came here last night was because your wife telephoned you and asked you to meet her.
Yes?
But your wife's dead, sir. She was murdered.
I know that.
Well, if she's dead...
Now, look here, I've told you. I'll explain all this to Inspector Carter and no one else.
Very good, sir.
I'm through.
Right.
Sir.
I'd like to take these down to the lab, if I may.
Yes, please do that, sir. We want a report on those as soon as possible.
Sergeant, was she strangled?
Yes, sir.
What about the gloves? Do you think that they were worn by...
We're not sure. Not yet, sir.
They were always kept in the hall. I used to use them in the garden for weeding and...
I understand, sir.
I don't think anybody else knew they were there, except Melissa, of course.
Mr. Foster, do you really expect me to believe that you thought it was your wife on the phone?
Yes, I do.
But your wife is dead, sir.
I know it must be very difficult for a man like you to understand, but I was depressed. I'd been drinking. I was in a highly emotional state, and suddenly, out of the blue, I heard Melissa's voice.
But it couldn't have been your wife's voice, sir.
Well, it sounded like it, Inspector. It sounded exactly like it. Look, Inspector, let me tell you this from the beginning. Don Page came to see me. He brought with him a deed box. He said that Melissa had left it with him some little time before. In the box there were several things, including a letter addressed to me.
From your wife?
Yes.
Go on, sir.
In the letter she said that she had been friendly with somebody called Peter Antrobus, and that we had in fact quarrelled about
Then
this
Dr.
matter.
Swanley was right, sir. You did think your wife was having an affair with someone.
No, I'm only telling you what it said in the letter. I'd never even heard of Antrobus until I read the letter. Later, somebody broke into my flat. Oh, well, broke is really hardly the word. They must have had a key. And they left this message on my typewriter. Well, I went down to Irvingdale, fully expecting to meet the man Melissa had been friendly with. Peter Antrobus turned out to be a schoolboy of about 12. So I thought there must be someone else of the same name, and that is why I went to see Mary Antrobus.
I see. You say somebody entered your flat and left this on the typewriter?
Yes.
You've no idea who it was?
No. Except that I'm sure it must have been a woman. I found a woman's handkerchief on the floor just after she'd run out. I think she must have been hiding behind those curtains.
Have you got the handkerchief?
Yes. When I saw the initial M on it, I thought for a moment...
Yes, I can imagine what you thought, sir. Did you see anybody else at Irvingdale apart from Mary Antrobus and her brother?
Yes. Yes, I bumped into Joyce Dean, Dr. Swanley's secretary. She was just leaving a shop as I was on my way back to the car park.
What was she doing down there, do you know?
Well, she told me that she used to live down there, and apparently her mother still does.
Was she alone?
No, Dr. Swanley's chauffeur was with her. It rather looked as though she'd borrowed the car for the day.
I see. Now, sir, I'd like to have a look at that letter, if I may, the one that was in the deed box.
Yes, of course.
Can't you find it, sir?
It doesn't seem to be here. And yet I was sure I put it back in the box. Oh, here it is. What is it?
That letter doesn't mention Peter Antrobus. It doesn't mention anyone by name.
But it did, Inspector. I assure you that it did.
Is that the same letter?
Well, it looks exactly the same, but it can't be.
There's hardly likely to be two of them, sir. Did Mr. Page see the letter?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Oh, well, I'll have a word with him then, sir. I take it that you're not thinking of going away, Mr. Foster? You'll be in town for the next day or two?
Yes, of course.
Just in case I want to get in touch, sir. It's all right, I'll let myself out.
Thank you. What time is Mrs. Stevenson coming?
4:30.
It's all right, I'll take it. It's probably the clinic. Hello?
Good afternoon, Dr. Swanley. Sorry to disturb you. Inspector Carter here.
Oh, good afternoon, Inspector.
Doctor, I'm making inquiries about a girl called Mary Antrobus, and I think perhaps your secretary might be able to help me.
My secretary?
Yes.
Well, she's here now. I'll put her on to you.
Thank you, sir.
It's Inspector Carter. He'd like to talk to you.
Miss Dean speaking.
Well, good afternoon, Miss Dean. Sorry to disturb you, but did you by any chance bump into a girl called Mary Antrobus while you were in Elvingdale?
No, I'm afraid I didn't.
But you know the girl I'm referring to?
Yes, I do. Her father has a garage just outside the village.
That's right. I understand she's a friend of yours.
She's not a friend of mine, Inspector. We hardly know each other. I met her once, about a year ago, that's all. But why are you interested in Mary Antrobus?
Well, I'm afraid she was found dead yesterday morning.
Where?
In a cottage near Lenton-on-Sea. Curiously enough, the cottage belongs to a patient of Dr. Swanley's, Mr. Foster.
Mr. Foster?
Yes. Well, it appears that you can't help me then, Miss Dean. Sorry to have bothered you. Goodbye.
Oh, hello, Don.
I want to see you, Guy, all right?
Yes, of course.
Are you alone?
Yes, I'm alone.
Guy, why the hell did you tell the inspector about the deed box?
The deed box?
Yes, you told the inspector that Melissa gave me the deed box and asked me to look after it for her.
Oh, so she did.
Yes, but you didn't have to tell Carter that. Now the damn fool thinks that Melissa and I were... well, that I knew everything about her.
I don't think either of us knew everything about Melissa, Don.
No, well, you tried telling Carter that.
Now, look, Don, I had to tell Carter about that box.
Yes, but you didn't have to tell him that I gave it to you. You could have simply said it was Melissa's.
I don't think you understand. A girl called Mary Antrobus was killed last night.
I know all about that. Carter came round to see me this afternoon. He questioned me about that letter, the one you read out to me.
You told him that you'd seen it, that it was in the box.
Yes, of course. But I didn't actually see what was in it, you know, Guy.
Didn't you?
No, you remember. You read it out to me.
Oh, yes, but you know what was in it.
Do I?
What did you tell the inspector?
Well, he asked me if I'd actually read the letter, and I said that I hadn't.
Good God, man, don't you see what that means? Now he'll think I'm lying about the letter. He'll think that I went down to Elvingdale for some completely different reason.
What reason?
To see Mary Antrobus.
Oh, I see.
Put yourself in my place, Don. The girl is found dead in my cottage, 20 miles away from Elvingdale, where she lives. The police know that I went to Elvingdale. They know that I talked to Mary Antrobus. They want to know why.
You're in a bit of a spot.
My God, I'm in a hell of a spot.
Guy, what was in the other letter, the one you showed the inspector?
It was substantially the same as the first, but nowhere was the name Antrobus mentioned.
And where was it? Where did you find it?
I found it in this drawer. Well, I could have sworn I put it back in the deed box.
Was the handwriting the same?
Yes?
Well, have you got it?
No. Carter took it away with him.
Oh. Look, I'm late. I better be off. Look, Guy, I'm sorry I blew my top just now. I'm afraid Carter rather got under my skin, you know, the way he was going on. Look, you take that. I'm off anyway. I'll see you, Guy.
Hello?
Guy,
Who is that?
it's Paula.
Oh, hello, Paula.
Darling, are you doing anything this evening?
Yes, I'm trying to do some work.
Only Felix is away. He's gone up to Scotland. Why don't you take me out for dinner, Guy?
Oh, well, I'm afraid I can't, Paula. Look, I'm not really very good company these days. And besides, I really do have an awful lot of work to catch up on.
Oh, all right, Ducky.
How long is Felix going to be away?
He's flying back Thursday. He had to go up to Scotland on business. Business? Ye gods, I expect it'll finish up by costing me a packet. It always does.
What is it this time, do you know?
Some fathead's trying to sell him the idea of opening an antique shop.
What, Felix?
Marvellous, isn't it? I'm the only antique he's got, and he hasn't a clue as to how old I am.
Do you know, Paula, that's the first laugh I've had for a very long time.
Good. But watch it, Guy. Don't let him talk you into lending him any money.
But I haven't got any money, Paula, you know that.
No, but you will have when Melissa's affairs are straightened out. Look, I'm serious, Ducky. Don't lend him a bob. Well, look, I'll call you when the old dear gets back.
Yes, all right.
Bye.
Goodbye, Paula.
Get in there.
What is this? Who the hell are you?
Don't you know? Can you guess, Mr. Foster?
No, I'm damned if I can. And if you think you can just break in here...
Antrobus. George Antrobus. Why did you kill my daughter?
I didn't.
It was your cottage. They found her body in your cottage.
Yes, I know.
And 24 hours before that, you were in Elvingdale making inquiries about her.
Yes.
You even asked the police
Now listen,
whether
please, Mr. Antrobus, please, let me explain. My wife was killed too, strangled exactly like your daughter. I went down to Elvingdale because I thought that there was somebody down there called Antrobus who...
Go on.
Oh, my God, how can I?
If you didn't kill Mary, then who did?
I don't know.
What was she doing in your cottage?
I don't know, Mr. Antrobus. Please believe me, I don't know.
I think you're lying. I just don't believe you.
All right, then I'm lying. But you tell me this. If I killed your daughter, then why did I send for the police? Why didn't I just get into the car and get the hell out of Lenton as fast as I could?
I don't know, but I expect you had a good reason.
You've made your mind up, haven't you? Well, all right, then. Go ahead!
What did you mean just now about Elvingdale and someone called Antrobus?
You won't believe me.
Let me be the judge of that.
My wife left a letter which gave the impression that she had a lover called Antrobus. That's why I interviewed your daughter.
Have you told the police this?
Yes, and they don't believe me.
Why?
Oh, because I haven't got the letter. Now, look, if you're not going to use that damn thing, I'm going to have a drink. And I'm going to ask you some questions for a change.
Questions? About what?
About your daughter.
What is it you want to know?
I'm pretty sure that the police think, and I agree with them, that your daughter was murdered by the same person who killed my wife. I also have very good reason to believe that they share your feelings about me. That I am that man. But I didn't kill my wife because I was in love with her. And I certainly didn't kill your daughter. Now look here, Antrobus, I want you to do one of two things. Either believe me, or do what you came to do, and then get the hell out of here. Here, drink this. Mr. Antrobus, I wonder if you could do something for me. I wonder if you could make me out a list of your daughter's friends. I don't mean just close personal friends, but people she knew, people she talked about.
I could try. Mary had so many friends. A lot of people I know nothing about.
Do you happen to know if she was friendly with somebody called Don Page?
A racing driver?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. I don't think Mary ever met him. No, sure she'd have told me if she'd met Don Page. He was quite an idol of hers. Don Page, Jim Clark, Sterling Moss.
Did she ever mention anybody called Dr. Swanley to you?
No.
Or Joyce Dean, his secretary?
That name sounds familiar. Didn't she work in Elvingdale for a time?
Yes, at the local hospital.
Yes, Mary knew her. I don't think they were friends, though, but, well, they'd certainly met.
Uh-huh. And what about the name Hepburn? Felix and Paula Hepburn?
No, I certainly never heard that name mentioned. Felix?
Yes.
Yes, Mary knew someone called Felix. I don't know his second name, though, but last week I walked into the office and she was on the phone. I heard her say, "All right, Felix, let's make it the 22nd.
But you've no idea who she was talking to?
No, I haven't. This man you just mentioned, Felix Hepburn, did you say?
Yes.
Who is he? What does he do?
Well, he calls himself a financial consultant, but it's really rather difficult to say what he actually does. He's married to a woman called Paula, a very wealthy woman. My wife was friendly with them both.
Is he a friend of yours?
Yes, he's a friend of mine. Guy Foster speaking.
This is George Antrobus. Mr. Foster, you remember that conversation we had last night about that friend of yours, Felix Hepburn?
Yes.
Well, he was the one on the phone. The one Mary was talking to.
How do you know?
Well, this morning, Peter, my son, found a note in Mary's handwriting. I'll read you what it says. She scribbled a date on it, October 22nd.
October 22nd? That's today.
Yes. And then it says, 9 o'clock, Felix H. and M. must be there.
M? Are you sure it says M?
Yes, I'm positive.
Does it say anything else?
There are two words underneath the date. The something or other. Dial, I think it is.
The Dial?
Yes, I think so.
What is it, a pub?
Well, if it is, I've never heard of it.
I suppose it's a meeting place.
Yes, I suppose it could be. Wait a minute. There's a monument at Carlston Heath, or rather just outside. I believe they call that the Dial, but I'm not really sure.
You say Carlston Heath?
Yes, it's about 25 miles from here. In between Elvingdale and Sutton Wentworth.
Yes, I think I know it. Mr. Antrobus, did your daughter often write notes like that?
Yes, she did. She was always leaving lying about the place. Mary always said she had a bad memory, but I don't think she had really. It was just a sort of habit she got into.
Yes, I see. Well, I agree with you about Felix Hepburn. She must have known him. The Felix H. is too big a coincidence.
What are we going to do about it? Wouldn't it be a good idea if you phoned him and...
No, I'm afraid I can't do that. He's up in Scotland somewhere. Or at least he's supposed to be. Look, Mr. Antrobus, why don't you leave this with me, for the time being, anyway?
Yes, all right. But,
Look, give me your telephone number.
Elvingdale 1040.
Elvingdale 1040. Right. Well, goodbye, and thank you for calling. Excuse me, am I right for Carlston Heath?
Mile and a half, straight on.
Actually, I'm looking for a monument of some sort. I think it's called a Dial.
That's right. It's up on the top. You'll see it. You can't miss it.
Thank you.
May I come in, Mr. Foster?
I was just reading about... When did this happen?
About 11:30 last night, sir.
Was she seriously hurt?
She's very badly shaken. The man tried to strangle her. Fortunately, he fell and she managed to get away from him.
What on earth was she doing down at Carston Heath?
We don't know. She hasn't really been able to tell us anything yet. Dr. Swanley can't throw any light on the affair either. He was under the impression she was going to the theatre last night.
Where is she now?
At the moment, she's in the local hospital, but I understand the doctor is bringing her back to town this morning. Might we go into the lounge, sir?
No? Oh, yes, of course. Inspector, I went down to Carston Heath last night. I drove down.
I know you did, sir. Tell me about last night, Mr. Foster.
Well, I left London at about 7:30. I got down to Carston Heath at about 9:15, and I parked my car...
I know where you parked your car, sir. You have a Hillman 3860 VC?
Yes.
It was parked in the lane facing the monument about 1/4 mile from where Miss Dean was attacked.
I didn't know that, Inspector. I don't know anything about this business.
Why did you go out to Carston Heath, Mr. Foster?
Well, because George Antrobus came to see me. The poor devil was angry, intensely angry. He thought I'd killed his daughter.
Go on, sir.
Well, she'd left a note. Apparently she had a very bad memory, and she used to scribble notes down all over the place so that she wouldn't forget.
Go on, sir.
Inspector, you're not going to believe me. You're just not going to believe me. Unless you...
Unless what, sir?
Unless you come down to Elvingdale with me and see George Antrobus.
And why should I do that?
Oh, because he's got the note that Mary left. If you come down there, see George Antrobus, and read the note, well, then at least you'll know why I went down to Carston Heath last night.
All right, Mr. Foster, let's go out to Elvingdale.
Be with you in a minute, sir.
Who's that?
Who is it? Why, it's George Antrobus, of course.
George Antrobus?